just remember when you see the wave, commit, paddle like fuck, and go.
Welcome to the Insiders Podcast Audio Noughts. I'm here with my esteemed host, Matthew Hayes, and I'm just going to tell you a quick story about Dazza back in the day. I was in the toilet of the supermarket at 3 a.m. and this guy who I worked with, what was his name? I can't remember. Anyway, he had an affair with one of the other night packers. As you do, like people, we were working 9 to 5 at the time. We started 7 to 3:30, and we worked 9 to 5. And this guy was, so he's had an affair with this woman. He didn't have kids, and she had kids. And then, like, he told his wife, and she spat the dummy, obviously, and left him and said, "Let's get a divorce." And then the woman he was having an affair with, who had the kid, said, "I look, it probably wasn't a good idea. I can't do it. I'm not telling my husband." And he was like off his chops, huh? Like really, obviously devastated, etc. And I just got back from Indo. I just got back from my first ever overseas trip to Bali, and I was like, like a young kid, a little bit younger than you though, Matt. Like, hey man, there's people in the third world over there living off nothing and they're happy. And he looked at me and he went, yeah, yeah, he wasn't sold on the idea. And I only learned over time that obviously this is true, but it doesn't change anything to your immediate personal problems, how bad people have got it elsewhere. And I also learned that there's nothing as totally psycho as a young surfer after his first trip back. And my esteemed colleague, Matt, would love to do about 6 or 7 episodes on Indo. But what we're going to permit him to do, myself as co-president of the Insiders and you, the listeners, is he's going to give us an Indo story every episode until he runs out of them. Give us your Indo story, mate.
Well, I got a couple of questions. Your story, was that in Australia or in France?
Yes, that was in Australia. That was
Because that changes things. Because affairs in France versus affairs in
no,
Australia.
no, no. Yeah, but no. It was in Australia. It was when I was a kid before I'd even come to France.
Yeah.
I cracked a
Okay.
few. It was my first overseas trip. I cracked a few two Indo trips before I came to Europe.
Yeah. Sick. Um, yeah, it's hard to break down mine into a story. I mean, obviously, last episode of
You
show.
guess I don't want you to break your whole trip into a story, Matt.
No, no, no.
Tell us something interesting that happened, and then in the next episode you're going to tell us something else.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, what I'd say is. It probably isn't super interesting, but what I would say this is one of the biggest kind of revelations, I guess, from the trip. So we went to Mandiri in Sumatra, and part of the reason we went, the time we went, is because that's technically out of season, but my good friend Alex, who lives there, who owns Villa Rosa, which is where we stayed, which I'll tag and everything like that. He's always been saying to me, come out of season because you get the reefs and you get Mandiri Beach. And the beachy is world class. And it is fully world class. But it's super strange so my first trip to Indo, and every time I've surfed beaches, there's been lines, corduroyed lines stacked to the horizon, right? So, or you at least get like a couple of lines per set. Now, Mandiri Beach, you don't get lines, and it's one of the trippiest, for me, one of the trippiest kind of situations to surf in, and why you have to definitely get used to it out there. Because the first couple of times you surf it, you're thinking, where the fuck am I meant to sit? Like, where's my takeoff spot? Where am I? Am I too deep? Am I too shallow? Am I? on the peak? Am I not on the peak? Because they just the waves just appear out of nowhere and then they jack up. And
Is that also due to the fact that you were surfing, I'm assuming, really glassy conditions?
no, because it wasn't super glassy conditions. Most like it was like offshore and there was a bit of chop and stuff. Like we didn't have like the perfect
Okay.
control directions. So it wasn't really to do with that. I mean, I had it explained to me it's due to the fact that it comes out of really deep water and it's not formed over like a longer like build up. It just comes straight out of deep water and then hits the beachy and goes. Like it's almost like a beachy that's a reef in the way it behaves.
Hence its barrel-like atmosphere.
Yeah, and the thing is with it is that it's heavy as fuck. Like that beachy is out there. That beachy snaps way more boards than reefs. The reefs out there, and yeah. So like when you're trying to get used to it, so like I was in a completely foreign situation. Really, really foreign country for me. Getting used to surfing in boardies, getting used to surfing, even things like your wax isn't sticky until you're stood up. Like it's not sticky on your body. So when you're paddling for waves, you're like a little bit more slidey, things like that. And then you have to actually adjust to the fact that this wave, you really can't see it until it's ready to be taken off. So you got to paddle real quick, pop real fast, and then you're wearing one on the head. And it's super interesting. It was really, really challenging, but in a fun way.
How about sunscreen on the back of the legs?
Yeah, sunscreened up. The guys at Sunbum looked after me really well, and then Kale Brock sent me his natural zinc stuff, and Factor 50 Sunbum on my legs was sweet. Kale's zinc like does not come off your face, which is obviously what you want it to do. So that was all sweet. Yeah, and it's just super, super interesting to try and challenge yourself and surf that beachy. And do you know what, Daz? I would say that one of the biggest things that helped me was one of the very last messages I received from anyone was from you that said something along the lines of, I hope you get the wave of your life. Just remember when you see the wave, commit, paddle like fuck, and go. And all I could think about when I was out at the beachy, like especially the first couple of days, and there was some solid size to it and some punch. All I could think about was the words that you'd messaged me, where it was just like, just I was just like, just paddle as hard as you've ever paddled and commit, and that helped out.
That's always a downfall for everyone, especially if you're going to a new place. Is fear of the unknown when you're about to take off. So that's a pretty sick Indo story, Matty. And you're going to come up with one on our next podcast, which is going to be over the next couple of days. Listeners, we're going to start smashing them out. Have you been watching La Libertad?
I have been watching the half days in El Salvador. Yes.
Pretty cool that. I actually said that to our fantasy surfer group on our preview. I was like, this place reminds me a little bit like Queensland. Surf before 9 or don't surf at all.
Yeah.
Like, you can get away sometimes by surfing before 10, but it's rare on the sunny coast that the wind's not going to be up by 9 or 10, like 9:30, 10 o'clock, which like it's unheard of in Europe because, we get all day offshores or all day onshores, but
Yeah.
generally, and I think that's La Libertad's signature.
I'll tell you what though,
Looks
I,
pretty good when it's oily glass, though, doesn't
it
it?
looks really fun to surf. I'm like, oh, I really want to go there. But yeah, there was a couple of it. Like I think I'm really annoyed at Liam O'Brien for not making it through the elimination round, just because I basically backed him as a dark horse.
Oh,
Um,
I'm just gutted for him. I just think he's one of the best surfers on tour that has yet to crack the code.
did you see George Pittar against Italo?
Oh, I was going to bring this up. I
What a heat.
I spoke to Alan Ryu last night. I come in from a surf and he was up the top watching and he was saying, "What do you think?" We were talking about the surf and then he was like, "Have you got a team?" Because he reckons he's got a good team. He's in our fantasy group because he grew up in Tahiti. He lives here, so we still call him a co-home. Our group's the co-homes. And I said to him, "Yeah," I said, "Man, if like George Peters heat," I said, obviously Italo, we'll get to him. He just went bananas. But George had I think two of the turns with the most torque I've ever seen in my life. He's kind of like an Aussie version of Jay Oceanka, a little bit, huh?
Yeah, yeah, he is. He's
Huh?
a little bit neater than Zhao. But I definitely see the comparison. A lot of like energy.
Torque, body
Yeah,
torque. But I think on this wave where he got a seven, that maybe he should have then just cruised a bit and done like some sort of snap or faked himself into air or pulled off. Because I think the fact that he did three or four smaller turns on the inside took the judges' memory away from
yeah.
like I don't know. It's pretty hard. I mean, Italo did a massive risk air over 1 foot of rock, landed it, then a few big turns. It's pretty hard not to give him
I think the scoring,
like a big
right?
score.
It was a six at key. It the thing for me with the George thing was after that how Felipe behaved himself made made Felipe look real bad because Felipe was like,
Hey,
why are my waves not getting above an
hey,
eight?
I was going to say that, eh? I
And
thought George looked better than Felipe.
yeah, I mean, if anything, yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. If anything, they looked kind of level, and George didn't get above eights, he got
He was
sevens,
getting sevens.
and I was
Like
like,
Felipe's turns, they look all right, but they don't look as puzzy as they used to be, and they don't look for me like Ethan, it's day and night. Like obviously Felipe's got an incredible firepower above the lip, and he's pretty consistent. He can do all that, but come on,
I think
he's just a sook. You
Felipe's
heard it
waves,
here on the Insiders.
yeah, it just, and we know George would never blow up like that anyway. And I just hope that he could get through the round of 32. That is George, and then
I was
go
having a look at
crazy.
that before. Who's he got? The old Pizzaruni, Jack Robbo. That's a hard heat. I picked Jack.
I'd
I
pick
don't know. You
George
never
though.
know. You never know. I reckon George has got a really good shot about on that. There's another sick heat, I think. Kanoa Igarashi against Crosby Colapinto, because Kanoa's got a bit of a. I think Kanoa and Griff, it's not talked about, but they've got a pretty big rivalry. I think just because they grew up. Oh, how far is it? I wouldn't have a clue. Huntington down to um, San Clemente, but Griff looked not Crosby. Sorry, listeners, I'm not trying to confuse you, but because we're talking about Colapintos, Griff looked absolutely incredible, electrifying,
He looked very good and
fast.
scarily comfortable.
Yeah,
Like
fast.
he looked fast, he looked fast, he looked sharp, but he also looked like I reckon this is probably one of the biggest compliments that I could pay it is he looked like he was free surfing and not competition surfing. And I think when you get to that kind of groove, especially early, that's pretty dangerous because he could step up. But yeah, he looked good. I think it's been a good comp so far.
It's pretty funny. The two of the guys that, well, nearly all the big goofy footers got through. All four of them: Ryan Callahan, Cole Hushman, Ramsey, Connor, and I saw a wave of Ryan Callahan. That guy is incredible. Like it's really good uh, inspiration for people around the world just to work on your mobility. He's just so flexible. And the
Yeah.
way he bends his knees and everything, he's taller than me. He gets down low and he can just pivot off that back foot. it's a lesson in technique.
Yeah, exactly. I went heavy on my picks. I went heavy on regular foots and some like Liam O'Brien. They've let me down, but yeah, no, like I think so far it's been a pretty interesting comp. I thought
Oh,
Nadia.
that's
I
a
thought
massive heat. Leo Arkell.
yeah, Leo looked good for round one as well. Actually, looked really good. I did think that Nadia Eristabe got absolutely ripped off yesterday because
Okay, yeah,
they
she
put
was surfing good, wasn't she?
they put one girl's heat out, which was the heat she had, and the waves were awful. And then afterwards, they just went on hold. And I was like, you didn't have to put the one women's heat out and then go on hold. You could have just gone on hold.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
guess I didn't know.
and then she
So
had,
she's out of the comp along with Sally Fitz.
yeah.
So Sally Fitz is just going to have to deal with the
No, I
Challenger
need to bring
Series
up,
again and some
need
new
to bring up,
sponsors.
we need to speak about this. Sally Fitzgibbons, with 1 minute to go, had priority and needed a 4 point something. She's going on the wave, first turn, slides out, comes, falls off, comes up, flips her board over, and her fin had come out. And this, people,
Gutted.
this is why you use futures fins and not FCS2. Screw the motherfuckers in. Like, her fin came out. She didn't fall off. She went for a turn, board span out. She came up nowhere near the board, flipped it over, missing a fin.
She could have hit a rock, huh?
Yeah, when you watch it, the board barely goes underwater.
Hmm.
Like it's a really flat kind of like slidey turn. She could have hit a rock. She could have done it before
Rare
she
for
took off.
the Fitzy to make an error like that, but
That's
well,
why.
she's out. I wasn't able to see much of the women's stuff
That's why.
just because of the way things were. Um, uh,
That is why we back futures over FCS2 anyway. Like we've had Vince on, and futures are the way forward.
Someone told me the H4 FCS two quad fins were really good today, and I kind of got a little bit of a twinge, but I don't have a board to suit that anyway, and I'm not getting any more boards. I'm following Gabe Davies' advice. I've got enough boards in my quiver, and honestly, you can't. How much can you surf when you're working?
Honestly, honestly, I think you're off your head. Album have just released that they're doing another UK batch of boards, and um, everyone should get one. And
Yeah, well,
how many boards you got?
I would have liked that quad model they got. What's it called?
The Delmar or the Vespa?
The illustrious Robbie Hildreth um,
Oh yeah,
told me the King of the North, Rob of the North,
he would
was
have told
telling
you
me,
about the light chunk.
no, he said,
He's been raving
uh,
about his light chunk until he took it to a wave pool and broke it.
oh, really? Which wave pool did he go to?
He went to the Edinburgh wave pool. Um,
I've got to speak to him about. No, there's a quad. Is it not? Is it the Vespa?
yeah, you're
I
talking
was,
about the Vespa, Margot's model.
yeah, I'd love to. If you want a Vespa like my 6'4" is magic, but I can do without one because I got Fipsy and
You got the
and and
boys, you got Bradley and
and
everyone.
Bradley down the road, and stick to your local shaper when you can.
Yeah, and if you can't, get an album. But El Salvador's been fun, and that's been fun to track. And it's actually been kind of easy to watch because it's not been going on for like 9 hours a day. Like it's more like palatable to watch it and to get on with it like that as well, which is fun. Um, yeah. Um, what about an Aussie story then, Daz? Because we haven't heard too much about it. Why don't you drum up a story from your Australia trip for us?
Now, I was going to tell you, did you watch Ballaram Stacks? What's it called?
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary yet? Oh, I haven't.
I have watched about 12 minutes of it.
Yeah, it's a pretty long thing. You need to commit, don't you? I haven't had necessarily time. Did you just get a chance to have a bit of a look at adolescence?
Not yet. I need to actually. That is very true. That might be my weekend watching actually, because we've just finished something else.
Talk of the town, that is, huh?
Yeah.
I was more watching. There's a dude on Instagram, and he does. Is it surf stories? I really like him. And now I saw him. He's doing morning videos at El Salvador of the free surfs.
Oh,
Have,
okay.
have you
I've
seen
not
any
got
of
that.
them?
No, I've not got that.
Oh, I've got to look him up. He does like these videos of iconic competitions, and he does a voiceover of them, and they're pretty sick. I'll see if I can track it
I
down.
need to look that up.
Uh, what was I going to tell you? Like, no matter what happens, I keep getting messages from people about. I had to surf at a mythical uh, Australian point break, which only breaks obviously during a surf, you know, frenzy. And I got it on during that last thing, and there was videos on it and everything. It's north of Noosa, uh, but it wasn't that good. Like I'm telling you, like most people would cut off their left arms. Have had that day that we had out there, but you know there was 50 or 60 people out there. But the anticipation that I had driving, there's like a 30 or 40K stretch of beach that you got to go up, and then you go across the headland. It's around the other side. And on that, I thought I was going to have a heart attack because, you know, there was calls of people saying best in 20 years. It kind of was one of the biggest people have seen it in the last 20 years. And it's just crazy what it'll do to your anticipation as a surfer. And then actually when I got there, it was looking the goods. And it wasn't until I was out in the water and I'd done a couple of laps that you know, the stoke started like calming down. I was thinking like, why isn't it better? Like I'm trying to
Yeah.
work out in life, what is it you need to not be
Disappointed.
needing more. Real surf stories, that's it. And he's got his own like Instagram page and he does I think it's more YouTube, real surf stories. This dude's he's unreal. He'll go back and he'll do a like a review over like a legendary competition. It's just fantastic. So if you're ever interested, I rate the guy.
I have to check it out.
You have
Back to
to.
your like Australia story about the the anticipation and stuff.
I can't say the name of the place, but geez, it looks good.
Surfers Paradise. Um,
Yes, yes.
um, but in it taps back into a slightly different thing that happened, like especially in Indo, where the crew I was with they're all better surfers than me. You know, I was with Harry Timpson, pro, Sonny Timpson, like Ruben Wakely, Andy Wakely, a guy called Kean who he's a painter and decorator, but boy, he surfs real good. And there was a day at the beachy where like we'd woken up and they'd woken up slightly earlier than me, quickly drove up the road to check like a spot on the beachy, but a different bank. And they came back and was like, yeah, we're going up to surf it. It looks real fun. It's like 2 foot. And I was like, buzzing. That sounds like so much fun that I've only just woke up. Let's go get it. And because they'd told me it was like 2 foot and looked real fun, I didn't have really any like, oh shit, is it going to be too big or like, am I going to like, is it cool for me to surf it? Blah 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 blah. So literally just grabbed boards, boardies on. Like it was early, so like didn't put too much sun cream on and didn't need to go in and stuff. Get up to the beach and like straight, like obviously you don't really need to do anything. So board out of the rack, leash on, paddling out, paddled out back like absolutely fine. Then this wave came, and this guy who wasn't with us, he was an Aussie guy. he took off on this wave, and to be fair, he went left on a right. Came up, his board was in half, right? And I was like, oh shit. Like I'd gone from like, oh, all the boys are saying it's casual, it's only like 2 foot, to being like, people's boards are getting snapped out here. Like, what's going on? Like, and like it's just really funny how like your or my like I don't want to use the word anxiety, but I don't know what the right word is. But like your level of, oh, okay, this is going to be challenging, or this is like pretty big, or oh, this is fine, like this is easy, this is fun, is so like dependent as well on like who you're with. If you're with a group of people that are all like, oh, boys, this is going to be a bit sketchy, like you might be like heightened. And because I was with lads who looked at that wave and did like they're like, I mean, like Harry's obviously phenomenal surfer. He looks at it and he's like, oh yeah, small. It wasn't small, and it wasn't, and it had punch behind it, but like I wasn't really even worried. And it's like kind of funny how your mindset changes with that as well.
Oh man, well, I was walking around the point at Noosa with one of my oldest best mates, Mick, and he still surfs there a bit, where most people our age have given up on Noosa. We're talking next level in crowds. We're talking what you park back down in the middle of town. You can't even drive around to the point. There's a car park at the bottom of National Point. You wouldn't be able to imagine it, Matt. It's like if you're walking through
Is it like that
like
day in Mundaka where it was just like people everywhere? And
yeah, it
yeah,
is. Yeah, it is for 2 or 3 points. But not even that. The people factor before you even get to the surf. Because it's one of Australia's leading tourist towns. It's one of the most beautiful spots in the world. And you have to get a park. We get a park a couple of k's away. Like I'm talking 25 years ago, we used to get parks that far away, and that was when that time when I fell in the rocks and lost my car key, and oh, the tragedy story. Anyway, so as we're coming around first point and we're looking down over Boiling Pot, which is the jewel of the crown. There's a few points. Tea Tree, the next point round, can be one of the most performance right hand waves in the world, like better than Puturunca, mate, like better, easy than what you're seeing in this El Salvador. And and I was just looking down and I said to Mick, I was like, oh man, I'm just starting to freak out a little bit in nerves and anxiety because it was going off, but there was a hell crowd, and I was on a borrowed board from another friend that I was living with, which was this 7.2. Did I say that? 7.2 mid-length Hayden Cox. I just kind of hated it. And I think I hated it because it was epoxy and it wasn't mine. And the last time I surfed there 2 years before, I'd snapped out two of his fins on one of his other boards. And this place was
yeah,
packed. And there's lots of rocks, man. Like, if your leg rope snaps, there's $1,000
yeah,
like out the window. And we're talking first week of my trip, huh? Of a 5 week trip. So I was worried between the fact of pulling back on waves that didn't look like I could get a clean entry, taking off on other waves where you got 15 people paddling for it, people everywhere, everywhere, and it going off. It gives you a cerebral overload.
yeah,
And it just makes you want to go somewhere where there's no one. But unfortunately, there's going to be less and less of those places. So you're just going to have to be tough or do what Johnny Weaver and Bram did and get one of those boats down to the southern atolls of the Maldives. Or there's still places in Indo you can go. Like when you went, it wasn't
no, it's
ballistically
not busy
crowded
at
at
all.
all, was it?
No, no
Good.
crowds
There you
at
go.
all.
Got to
Yeah.
go places off season. We're talking about one of the world's most premier point breaks in the middle of summer, and
Also in
Southeast Queensland must have
yeah,
50,000 surfers. I don't know how many surfers are there. There's just
yeah, it's also different out there, isn't it? Because like where like I think in France and definitely in England, surfing is still like a very small thing. Where like obviously football a million times bigger than surfing and rugby and cricket and tennis and
Exactly.
almost nearly any sport is bigger than surfing. Whereas in Australia, I would say it's probably like you'd probably say close to top five. Like if
And anyone can do it at this spot. I'm telling you, anyone. They're the easiest waves in the world. And you're just wearing board shorts and a wet shirt. You're not in a 543 with
yeah,
booties fighting the elements.
heaps easier.
But anxiety will get the best of all of us. I actually had a sick little session yesterday afternoon out in front of the. Okay, here we go. We're in our last 9 minutes. Kukul call. I've gone up over the hill. I've seen a perfect little peak. So, what was yesterday? Thursday afternoon. I got lucky. Been busy all week doing ridiculous amounts of things at once, as well as picking my son up from school. One guy out, ran back, get my board, out there. Two guys out. Then, out of nowhere, there's a jet ski towing in his foil buddy on a 2 to 3 foot day, and there was a peak down the. And I'm just like, when is it gonna end?
I mean, that's not even a Kukul core. That's a go kill yourself, whoever both of those people are.
Don't tow on a 2 foot day amongst people.
But
Like there
first
was
of
a
all,
girl, there was a surf instructor that come out with this girl, and she had one of the best surfs of her life. It was that perfect and easy. And this foiler went past her at one stage, and I was thinking, if there was some sort of a brain fart there, there's an amputated leg.
yeah, first of all, never foil. Second of
No, I
all,
think I think it's a sport that you can have a lot of fun, Matt, honestly. But not like, it's like driving a Formula One down a
no,
boulevard.
yeah. But let me rephrase. Number one, don't foil where other people are surfing.
Yes.
Number two, don't get a toe in on a foil where other people are surfing.
Oh,
What really bugs me is that foilers act like they're not on essentially a weaponized craft, right?
not
That
all of them. It's just
they are.
certain.
They're all of them are super sharp. Even the beginner,
No, I mean not all of the foils. I mean not all foilers. I know
I
a
still
couple of
I
guys that
still think
foil that are pretty good and they stay away from people. But it's the
yeah,
same sort of thing with crazy
just
fucking surfers on
go away. I mean,
on on
I like I've got no time for like foilers anywhere near me. Luckily in Cornwall, there's a group of foilers who are really good at it, and they go somewhere where it's like it's not surfable, and it's really cool. Like they all go there. They always go to this spot all the time, and it's not really a surfable spot. So you're like, cool, good on you. Like, and they're all pretty good at it, and they're not getting in anyone's way other than each other, and it's like fair enough. Um,
But here, there's dudes jet skiing. I'm not just talking foiling. With the surfboards at 4 to 6 foot, where
yeah, that's
like
just
what is I don't know. There needs to be a new world order between at one stage like 40 jet skis at Kira. Now
yeah,
we've got jet
it is
ski
ridiculous.
foilers at 2 foot. Uh, and I know it's great fun, but like the dude could have just been out there without the jet ski.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, no, that's just that's kook and the Kuka core is ultimately it's just that's proper shit house rather than anything else. Yeah, not keen on that at all. Um,
Um, what else did I see? There was something else I saw. Oh, you know, if everyone else has talked about it, at least we've got to say something about it. What did you think about the Matt Biolis um,
Lady
taking
Gaga thing.
Lady Gaga to court? I'll give you my
Uh,
gut reaction after you say something.
um, I think it's completely warranted. When I know that the designs don't actually come into it because he's been very clever and he's got the license and the trademark to print the word mayhem on t-shirts, jumpers, long sleeve t-shirts, and something else. And it doesn't actually matter what your design is at all. You cannot put mayhem or lost on a t-shirt. Um, but when you actually look at how close the designs are, there is no way that someone in Lady Gaga's team didn't do some sort of quality control or some market research and see you Google Mayhem, Mayhem's logo would have come up. You put them side by side, they're like identical. There's no way they didn't. So I genuinely hope he takes her to court and gets loads of money.
When I first saw that, I think I was in Switzerland or something, on my way home, and I saw it in a Beach Crit article, and my first, I nearly did a comment. It was like, "Fuck Lady Gaga" and all she stands for, but I didn't want to like put myself out too far on a limb, but I still believe it because, okay, let's be incredibly naive and say her and her team never saw it. Well, you dickheads, if you're going to do something, at least do a bit of research before you do it. It's
The
like
first
if
thing you do,
tomorrow, let's do a t-shirt, The Insiders. Just do it.
yeah,
Oh, what are you talking about? Someone else has done it.
yeah,
Like, fuck her with her stupid bullshit crap music anyway. Excuse me. She's Upper West Side, New York, Manhattan, and it's not that stupid. And some of her songs back in the day, Poker Face or whatever, I didn't mind, but it's still really contrived that they come out and do this, and then the agent basically told him to piss off.
yeah. I mean, I think for me, someone in Lady Gaga's team is about to get absolute like I mean, someone's gonna be out of a job.
Does she even know?
That's what I mean.
Or
Is
does she sit in a room like the Queen with a bit of velvet and they come in and go, "What do you think about this?" And she,
yeah,
I'm worried about my tour. I'm not going to watch her in concert because of it.
yeah. I mean,
And I'm not even a Matt fan.
I was
Sorry,
about to
Matt.
say when I first read it, the first thing I thought of was I want to know what Christian Bradley thinks about this because I know
I
that
gotta ask him.
Christian's a
Let's talk.
funny.
We'll talk about it this way. I've got to go over and give him some pellets. I forgot to take him his pellets back.
Yeah. But yeah, I think all for Matt Bowles and his team for doing that. It's funny because I don't know if you read the story or not, but back when Lost, the TV show, was around, they tried to print a t-shirt and stuff, and he stopped them, and then they came to an agreement and they printed one t-shirt and only one
Yeah.
t-shirt. And I think that's just amazing that a huge series like Lost, and they couldn't do anything other than one t-shirt just because of Matt Bowles um and the license and stuff that he's got, and I think it's amazing. But yeah, I think fair enough. Um, and also, I just wanted to state while we've got a minute left and we're over that. Um, if anyone's got Stab Premium and you've got the spare time to, read the comments left on Stab Highway posts about Ben Gravy because it's slowly become my new favorite thing. He has done himself no favors at all by being on that.
Well,
Everyone,
I don't mind the old Ben Gravy.
I think he's a cock, and he comes across
I,
like an even bigger cock on this show. I think he's, and if you listen to his podcast with them, he basically claims that he was the guy who told Jamie O'Brien everything that Jamie now does and told him to do it and stuff. And you're just like, shut the fuck up. Like,
well, there you take that Ben Gravy from Matt. Now we're running out of time, Matt, and I had one thing to say. What is the UK going to do now that Trump has put massive tariffs on pommy wankers going into the States?
it hasn't. We've got the best deal out of every country in the world.
Really? I thought he put 60% on pommies
No,
going into
10% the UK got. Everyone else got fudged. But yeah,
God Save the Queen.
there's
King.
Trump's a motherfucker.
Well, thanks for having me. There's going to be another episode.